Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody. It's nice to see that I've seen few students already, so this gives me a challenge to say exactly the same thing and not something different. It's a pleasure to be here and to show you a few slides about the oldest mission in peacekeeping operation in UN, the only mission that Israel is hosting currently as a hosting country, the only PKO, and of course a mission that is purely military observer mission. We have in the world two, this one and UNMOGIP between India and Pakistan. As we were a bit ordered here what to present, this is my agenda, and of course we can develop after during questions. Let me start with the famous start of the first ever peacekeeping mission. 47, UN partition, 48, the conflict start, and then you have two resolutions. Called for truce, and immediately UN deployed military observer to help the mediator to achieve ceasefire between Israel and four Arab countries. After those negotiations, four armistices were signed clearly and defined what all countries decided to accept and decided to respect. Few events, of course you are perfectly aware of those events. In red, two events that conduct to see that military observer must in some case be helped by a force, armed element, first in the Golan Heights with UNDOF to do what we call a buffer zone to separate force. And then also in 78, the UNIFIL was built. And here, Brigadier General Delors Laval will explain you that more in details. 2 points in blue, the peace treaty with Egypt and the peace treaty with Jordan. In that sense, two of the four armistices that were signed under the auspice of United Nations and UNTSO were ended and the peace treaty started. So in that sense, the armistice mechanism and surveillance of UNTSO, 50% of the mandate was done. 2006, a reminder, war can breaks any time in this area. This is the last four casualties of UNTSO when OP Cam was bombarded and 4 officers died there. We hope that this will not happen, for example, in the Golan Heights those days. The professor spoke about Chapter 7 mission. Here we are in Chapter 6 mission. The difference, Chapter 6, you cannot enforce the mandate. Chapter 7, you can enforce the mandate with, notably, arms and ammunition. Very different topic, and clearly hosting countries or countries that sign armistice can and are master in choosing Chapter 6 or Chapter 7, of course. Here you have the main task of a military observer mission in UN, monitor ceasefire, supervise armistice agreements, and check that the party respect the agreements, prevent incident, and help other peacekeeping mission. Two colors, the green one to say that we are not limited by numbers. Sometimes you have a Security Council resolution saying we want a force of 12,000 troops like in Mali. Here is not the case. We can go up and down with the number of military observers we have according to the situation. It's just a question to get enough money to have them in. And geographically is the unique mission that touched 5 countries. And also with that, we have the flexibility to move military observer from Egypt to Golan, for Golan to Lebanon, if we need more at a certain point of time, military observer in one or the place of Middle East. The task, I'm not going through all of them. I highlight 2. One is we are specialists in Middle East about ceasefire lines. That means blue lines for UNIFIL. That means Alpha Bravo line in Golan Heights for handoff. That means any other line. At the beginning, we were for sure the specialist of the green line that was defined by United Nations. And of course, now we assist UNIFIL and handoff in providing expert on mission, as we call the military observer. They have to follow the doctrine of the military observer system of United Nations, and they have to stay in a box of the mandate of UNTSO, which is kind of a large box. By the way, about the force, you mentioned the force in UN. 2,800 military observers are working around our planet in the different UN missions. What is the intent of the head of mission, General Kilpia, that cannot attend today, is leaving the mission tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and we'll have a new general for next month. When he received his we call that in the compact in the UN, his task, he wanted exactly those points. He wanted trained military observer. You cannot send military observer, even though they are trained and have some other experience, in the mission area without knowing what is going on here. So we have a system of training before sending people in the Golan, in Egypt, or anywhere else. Egypt, we want to maintain the presence there for several reasons. I will come back on that one, but also definitely because the hosting country want us to be there. Syria is key for the military observer system of UN. There is a lot of things happening in Syria, but we have a task according to the armistice agreement between Israel and Syria. And for that task, we need to be both sides of the armistice lines. For us, as eyes and ears of the Security Council, how we call also the military observer, it's key to be on the spot. Dialogue, of course, we have this regional mandate, second task of UNTSO. And about the training system, we really have to adapt. And those last years, we had to adapt about specifically the hijacking. If 10 years ago it was about AODs, roadside bomb, those 2 last years were a lot about hijacking. We integrate the events, especially hijacking in Syria, and we present exactly case by case to the new UNMOs what's going on and how the UNMO were able to get out without damage. You have seen 2 main hijacking in the news from Filipinos, but you have not seen 5 or 6 hijacking of military observer, because that lasted 2 to 5 hours, and they were able to be free also by their skills. And of course, the capacity to analyze and to adapt is key in a dangerous area like we can find in some area of Middle East. Shortly in Lebanon, expert on blue line, you have the blue line here, and this is a little bit what kind of task we have. Blue line patrols, of course, village patrol meetings, and then you have the special reports, when you have a firing clause, shooting report, and all the different reports till the special reports. This is basic in all the military observer system in UN. Military observer do that. If you go to OGG, Observer Group Golan, this is the very typical old peacekeeping system. You have a war, you have two countries that fight each other with military equipment, and then at the end of the war they decide to stop the hostility. The idea here is to check that none of the both countries, here you have Israel one side and Syria the other side, start again a build-up of forces. So here in white you have the buffer zone, UNDOF camps, who separate the force. There is no force of Israel or Syria in this area. And after you have in three colors the area of limitation, where we physically count the number of tanks, of troops, of artillery, and anti-aircraft missiles. When the two countries stay under this limit, that means that they are not building up for a next war, and they still complying to the armistice agreement. And here, of course, you have seen in the news a lot of violation about shooting, line crossing. This is the white area. When it comes to the three other areas, this is the area of limitation. There is no build-up of force, neither from Israel nor from Syria, or at least they are below what they agree both countries to respect. In that sense, here we can say that the two countries are still committed to the armistice. Then we spoke about the unique case of UNTSO being regional, and for that we need liaison office in Beirut, in Damascus, in Cairo, and here you have a little bit the staff. We still have people in those countries for specifically those reasons. Link with the diplomatic communities, link with the TCCs representative in those countries, their embassies. TCCs is troop contributing countries. Of course, link with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Defense of each country touched by those armistices. This is mainly done by diplomatic calls from the head of mission, Major General Kilpia at that time, and is going and see all those people. Can convey also some message when it go from one country to the other countries. Of course, those liaison office do some reporting about the situation according to what is agreed between the hosting country and the mission. The last one is the security meetings, management team. In each country, UN has a system. All agencies of UN, being peacekeeping mission or other mission, meet and decide what about the security in each country. And here, of course, since we travel in all those countries, we have to be up to date. What are the dangers? What are the security measures that we have to respect? One slide I like in Egypt, Sinai. Unfortunately, MFO representative was not able to come this afternoon. You have a band of 10 kilometers from the Israeli border where MFO camp are. And then you see in the zones AD, left up, where you have green, brown area. Those are the area where MFO are doing inspection. Same inspection that UNTSO do in the Golan Heights. What we do in those areas, we do only patrolling system. So it's kind of a lighter system, and for several reasons, internal reason, political reason, but also when you have a peacekeeping, when you host a peacekeeping mission, you have also some facility to participate in other peacekeeping mission. So Israel hosts UNTSO, so they can send a soldier or MILOPS to other mission if they want. And very easily. We were asked about the structure, to present the structure. Here you have in green what we call in UN a substantive section. This is the military. In yellow is the support. UNTSO, very old mission, purely military, has only one substantive section. You don't find here rule of law, civilian affairs, protection of children, and so on. In new mission, UN mission, you have a range of 9 to 10 or even more substantive sections. This is very unique. This is purely when you have a peacekeeping mission about military. I will stop here and we'll take the question later.